What's up, Crim Heist? Welcome to another criminology educational video. For today, we will be discussing fundamentals of criminal investigation and intelligence. By the way, my name is Professor Sean Francis Sandiego, also known as the Professor. So before jumping into our topic, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Professor, and hit the notification bell for you to be updated for my next upload. So first is what to expect into our discussion. So for today, we will be discussing the basic concepts of investigation. So yung mga definitions and mga basic concepts in connection to investigation, criminal investigation. And also, we will be discussing what are the laws linked to criminal investigation. So ano yung mga legal basis in the conduct of criminal investigation. And the last one would be the goals and objectives of criminal investigation. So kung bakit ba ginagawa ang criminal investigation and kung ano yung mga dapat i-achieve in the activity of criminal investigation. So first, let's go to the basic concept of investigation. So first is nandyan yung investigation. So let us define what is investigation. So investigation, examination, inquiry, research express the idea of an active effort to find out something. So si investigation or examination, inquiry, or research, ito yung mga interchanging words kung saan ang dahilan kung bakit ito ginagawa is to find out something. So first is inquiry. So bakit ba tayo nag-i-inquire? Para malaman natin kung magkano yung presyo ng bagay na yon. Bakit tayo nagre-research? To know if our hypothesis is true or not. And bakit tayo nag-e-examine? So ba tayo nag-e-examine ng mga bagay-bagay? It is to find out something about that thing. So ganun din sa investigation. It is an activity whereas kinokonduct siya para magkaroon tayo ng kaalaman dun sa isang bagay na yon. So also, it can be defined as a systematic, minute, and thorough attempt to learn the facts about something complex or hidden. So investigation is often formal and official. So si investigation daw, ginagawa siya in a more systematic. When we say systematic, it is more of an organized way of doing something. So ginagawa siya as in a systematic way because yung pag-aalam natin or pag-gather natin ng mga facts and informations is more on complex or hidden. So yung mga inaalam natin, ito yung mga komplikadong bagay, ito yung mga tinatago, ito yung mga hindi gustong malaman, pero tayo ay aalamin natin sapagkat tayo ay investigator. So, since it is complex, it is a systematic or mahirap tong gawin, usually an investigation, ginagawa yan formal and official. So, ang investigation is a method of getting vital information, facts, circumstances, and evidence for the purpose of knowing the truth. So, ibig sabihin, ginagawa natin sa investigation not just to know or to find out something, but also for the purpose of knowing the truth. Alin ba ang totoo? Ano ba ang tama? Ano ba ang mali? So, ito ay ginagawa para malaman yung mga bagay na yon. So, next is, how is investigation conducted? So, paano ba ginagawa ang investigation? So, yung approaches in the conduct of investigation differs to the nature of crime occurred and with respect to the pertaining laws. So, ibig sabihin, yung approach daw or yung the way kung paano gagawin ang isang investigation is nakadepende siya kung ano yung nature or type ng krimen na yon. So, nakadepende siya kung ano yung mga certain factors or rather, yung approach in the conduct of investigation depends on the situations doon sa lugar, ano yung nature ng crime. So, for example, iimbestigahan mo bata, of course, your approach should be a friendly approach. So, yung mga ganong bagay. So, there are different types of approach na kailangang i-take into consider ng mga investigator for the successful investigation. Technology and other scientific methods have been integrated in investigation for the solution of crimes. So, ibig sabihin, marami na daw mga advanced technologies and other forensic sciences or mga scientific methods ang inintegrate or ginamit or ginagamit ng mga investigator to aid their investigation. When we say to aid, is to help their investigation, to fasten their investigation. So, a good example is the utilization of forensic science to aid investigator in tracing the perpetrator. So, that's why tayo mga criminology students or kayo mga criminology students, tinitake natin yung criminalistic subject or yung mga forensic sciences subjects. It is because ang mga criminology graduates, pwede ang mga maging investigators. And if you are an investigator, kailangan maalam ka sa mga forensic sciences or criminalistics para at least matulungan yung iyong pag-investigate. So a good example is in tracing the perpetrator, gagamit tayo ng fingerprint. So lifting of fingerprints, identification of fingerprints. So sa baril naman, nandiyan ang forensic ballistics. So yung mga ganung bagay, so talagang nakakatulong yun para mapabilis ang paghahanap sa perpetrator. Next would be the laws associated to investigation. So ano ba yung mga legal basis in the conduct of investigation? First would be the 1935 Philippine Constitution. So under Article 3, Section 17, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall be presumed innocent. So anuhin na lang natin to, hindi ko na siya babasahin ng sobrang haba. So explain ko na lang. So sa lahat daw ng criminal prosecution, ang isang akusado daw ay kailangan nating itrato na isang inosente up until ito ay mapatunayan ng korte na siya ay guilty beyond reasonable doubt. And in case na siya ay inosente pa at hindi pa siya napapatunayan guilty ng hukuman, kailangan i-enjoy niya muna ang kanyang right to be heard by himself and para magkaroon ng counsel or legal counsel, yung mga abogado, and also kailangan i-inform siya ng nature and cause kung bakit siya naakusahan o ano yung nature and cause ng accusation against him, ano yung binibintang sa kanya, and also magkaroon ng speedy and public trial, and also para makita ang mga witnesses face-to-face and have a compulsory process to secure the attendance of witnesses in his behalf. Next would be the 1987 Philippine Constitution. So under Article 3, Section 12, so same pa rin naman yan. Any person under investigation for commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent. So yan ay Miranda doctrine or warning, which we will be discussing later. And to have a competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of the counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of the counsel. Next would be Article 3, Section 12 pa rin, Paragraph 2. So, no torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means ang kailangang i-inflict doon sa biktima. Biktima sa offender or doon sa akusado. Secret detention places, solitary, and incommunicado, or any other similar forms of detentions are prohibited. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17, so ibig sabihin, pag siya daw ay nag-confess or nag-admit dahil siya ay tinorture, that confession or admission will not be admissible to the court to be an evidence against him. Next would be Paragraph 4. The law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions doon sa mga magto-torture sa kanya or sa mga mag-violate ng mga minention kong sections kanina, and compensation and rehabilitation for the victims for the torture na ginawa sa kanya during the confession or interrogation and doon sa kanyang pamilya. Next would be Republic Act number 7438. So ito na yung sa torture. So Republic Act number 7438, ito yung rights of the accused under custodial investigation. Yan, as well, ito, an act defining some certain acts, rights of a person arrested, detained, and or under custodial investigation, as well as the duties of the arresting, detaining, and investigating officers, and providing penalties for violation thereof. So, ito na, yung rights of the person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation. So first, kailangan sa lahat ng kanyang gagawin during detention, kailangan siya ay ina-assist ng kanyang abogado or ng kanyang counsel. So any public officer or employee or anyone acting under his order or place who arrests, detains, or investigates any person for the commission of an offense, kailangan i-inform natin siya in a language na kanyang naiintindihan. At also i-explain sa kanya na siya ay may karapatang manahimik at kumuha ng kanyang competent and independent na counsel. Preferably sa kanyang pamimili. Ngunit kung siya naman ay walang kakayahan, siya ay bibigyan ng gobyerno. And also, who shall at all times be allowed to confer privately with the person arrested. If such person cannot afford the services, yun na nga sinabi ko kanina, he must be provided with a competent and independent counsel by the investigating officer. So the custodial investigation report shall be reduced to writing by the investigating officer. So during kasi custodial investigation, si investigating officer gagawa yan ng custodial investigation report. And yung custodial investigation report, bago ito ipasa, kailangan papirmahan muna at ito ay lagyan ng thumb mark ng dun sa person arrested or detained or dun sa akusado. At pag hindi siya marunong magbasa o magsulat, kailangan ito ay basahin at i-explain sa kanya ng maayos ng kanyang abogado or kung wala naman is abogado na provided ng investigating officer sa language or dialect na alam niya. Otherwise, if hindi ito na-explain or pinabasa ng maayos kay accused or kay akusado, yung investigation report will be null and void or mapapawalang bisa. So any extrajudicial confession na ginawa ng akusado, when we say extrajudicial confession, ito ay nag-confess or nagkaroon siyang confession outside the court. So yun yung extrajudicial confession. And generally speaking, hindi talaga siya admissible sa court. But pag nagkaroon siya ng extrajudicial confession, kailangan muna is magkaroon ng waiver and in the presence ng kanyang abogado at yung kanyang extrajudicial confession shall be in writing at pipirmahan dapat ng nung akusado and also in the presence ng kanyang abogado o kung wala naman ang kanyang abogado, kasama ang kanyang magulang o mga nakakatandang kapatid o kaya ang kanyang asawa o kaya ang municipal mayor or municipal judge o kaya naman ang district school supervisor o kaya naman pare o kaya naman mga pastor. So otherwise, yung extrajudicial confession na yon will be inadmissible as evidence. So any waiver by a person arrested or detained under the provisions of Article 125 of the Revised Penal Code shall be in writing by such person in the presence of his counsel. Otherwise, the waiver shall be null and void and of no effect. So any person arrested or detained or under custodial investigation, kailangan ay i-allow natin na bisitahin siya or magkaroon ng conference with a member of his immediate family or ng kanyang doktor, ng pare o ng any pastors or religious minister or by member of his immediate family, by his council, by the national non-governmental organization duly accredited by the Commission on Human Rights or international non-government organization accredited ng Office of the President. And when we say immediate family pala, define dito na ang immediate family are the following: ang kanyang asawa, ang kanyang engage o yung mga mapapangasawa, fiancé or fiancée, magulang o anak, kapatid, lolo o lola, mga apo, tito o tita, pamangkin, at ang kanyang guardian or ward. So as used in this act, yung custodial investigation shall include the practice of issuing invitation to a person who is investigated in connection with an offense he is suspected to have committed. So without prejudicing the liability of the inviting officer for any violation of the law. So next would be the cases linked to investigation. So ano ba yung mga jurisprudence in connection sa investigation? So ang pinakasikat dito would be the Miranda versus Arizona, 1966. So yung Miranda versus Arizona, galing siya sa American jurisprudence. When we say American jurisprudence, ito yung kaso na na-desisyonan na ng Supreme Court sa Amerika. So anong nangyari dito? A Latino named Mr. Ernesto Miranda was arrested for the crime of 2 crimes, rape and kidnapping in Arizona. So the Arizona police interrogated Mr. Miranda, which led to his confession. So in-interrogate siya ng mga police officers in Arizona, at yun, due to that, or rather as a result of the interrogation, nag-confess si Mr. Miranda. And Mr. Miranda's confession led him to conviction of 2 crimes accused to him. So yung crimes of rape and kidnapping. So Mr. Miranda filed an appeal before the Arizona Supreme Court but lost the appeal. So natalo siya sa pag-appeal niya. After na natalo siya sa Arizona Supreme Court, ni-raise niya yung kanyang appeal sa US Supreme Court. And he was acquitted by the US Supreme Court on the grounds of violation in his constitutional rights. So sa tingin ninyo, ano ang violation ng constitutional rights na meron doon? So the jurisprudence was incorporated by the US Supreme Court and was later adopted by the 1973 Philippine Constitution. So this is famously known as the Miranda Rule, Doctrine, or Warning. So ito yung Miranda Warning. So ito yung English translation and this is the Tagalog translation. So for the English, you are arrested for the crime of murder. You have the right to remain silent. Any statement you make may be used for or against you in any court of law in the Philippines. You have the right to have a competent and independent counsel, preferably of your own choice. If you cannot afford the services of counsel, the government will provide one for you. Do you understand these rights? So yun, and then dun sa Tagalog. Next would be criminal investigation. So dito i-define natin what is criminal investigation, what are the duties of a criminal investigator, so ano yung objectives ng criminal investigation, so on and so forth. So first would be, what is criminal investigation? So criminal investigation is an art which deals with the identity and location of the offender and provide evidence of his guilt through criminal proceedings. So inasmuch as it is not a science, it is not governed by rigid rules or laws, but most often, it is governed by intuition, felicity of inspiration, to a minor extent by chance. So a procedure conducted to accomplish the threefold aims of criminal investigation. So ginagawa daw ang criminal investigation for these threefold or three goals. A is to identify the guilty party, B is to locate the guilty party, and the last would be to provide evidence of his guilt. Next would be art versus science. So ano ba ang criminal investigation? Art ba siya or science or both? So si criminal investigation daw, considered daw siya as an art because it is ruled by strict or fixed legal procedures. But it is most often based on intuitions such as logic, experience of criminal investigator, and sometimes by luck or chance. While it is considered as a science because it applies the principles of forensic science to aid the criminal investigator in identifying, locating, collecting, preserving, and evaluating pieces of evidence. Next would be the goals of criminal investigation. So, ang goal niyan, una is, bakit ba ginagawang criminal investigation? Para alamin kung may nangyari bang krimen. Kasi kung wala, ba't ka mag-iimbestiga? Second is, identify the suspect involved in the crime. Suspect or suspects involved in the crime. So, sino-sino or sino yung gumawa ng krimen? Or sino mga involved, even the victim. Legally collect and preserve evidence essential in the solution of the crime. Next is apprehend or arrest the suspects legally with respect to the standard operating procedures of arrest. Of course, even in arresting, we have to respect the rights of the suspects. Recover the stolen properties if the crime is against property. And as the investigator gathered facts and circumstances, he or she shall present the best possible argument to the prosecutor. Kasi mga criminal investigator, hindi lang naman natatapos ang kanilang trabaho sa pag-iimbestiga ng krimen. They shall also testify in court. Next would be the anatomy of crime. So I already discussed or I already have a separate video about the anatomy of crime which I uploaded. Ilalagay ko na lang din yung link. But explain ko na lang din siya ulit. So for the anatomy of crime or elements of crime, una nandyan is motive. So motive, it is the desire or reason why the perpetrator wants to commit the crime. It is the will that pushes him to do something that is against the law. Ito daw yung rason or tumutulak sa kanya kung bakit gusto niyang gawin yung krimen or kung bakit niya ginawa yung krimen. Ang example niyan is pagseselos, paghihiganti, galit, or intent to gain. So for example, yung iyong kapitbahay ay may bagong cellphone. Ikaw ay nainggit. Gusto mo rin ng bagong cellphone na yun, but you don't have the means to buy that new phone. So, anong ginawa mo? Ninakaw mo na lang yung cellphone. So, ano yung motive mo? Jealousy and intent to gain. Jealousy kasi nagselos ka or nainggit ka kasi nakita mo may bagong cellphone si kapitbahay. And bakit intent to gain? Kasi gusto mong makuha yung cellphone niya or yung bagong cellphone niya. So, yun yung motibo mo or yung will or yung reason mo kung bakit mo ginawa or bakit mo ninakaw yung cellphone na yun. Next would be instrumentality. So, from the word itself, instrument, ito daw yung mga means or ways ng perpetrator in committing the crime. So, this may be objects that aid the perpetrator for the successful commission of an offense. So, ang example niyan is barel, panaksak, like knife, bolo, or poison. So, anything na nakakapag-inflict ng pain sa tao na maaring makatulong sa iyo para sa successful perpetration of crime or commission of crime. The last one would be opportunity. So it is the chance given unconsciously by the victim to the perpetrator to commit the crime. So ito daw yung mga actions na ginagawa ng biktima na hindi siya aware na nagbibigay na pala ng open window or open door or open opportunity para siya ay biktimahin nung would-be criminal. So ito yung mga acts done by the victim or situations occurred that attracts the perpetrator and gives the chance of victimizing the victim. So, an example niyan is isang babae na naglalakad mag-isa sa isang madilim at liblib na lugar gamit ang kanyang cellphone. So, unang-una siya ay unaware sa kanyang surroundings sapagkat siya ay gumagamit ng cellphone. At ang cellphone niya pa is iPhone 11. So, siya ay mag-isa, babae. So, opportunity yon para siya ay biktimahin sapagkat naglalakad siya mag-isa sa this oras ng gabi sa isang liblib na lugar which is a crime-prone area. So, kumbaga, unguarded siya, wala siyang kasama. So, mas madali siyang mabibiktima ng offender or ng perpetrator. Next would be criminal investigator. So, sino ba si criminal investigator? So, it refers to a person tasked to carry out the objectives of criminal investigation, such as to identify and locate the guilty and provide evidence of his guilt. So, he is also referred to as the prober. So, criminal investigator or prober. So, si criminal investigator daw is a specialist in the field of criminal investigation. So, he is tasked to investigate all criminal cases. So, ano ba ang characteristics na dapat meron ng isang criminal investigator o ang isang prober? So, first is perseverance. So, kailangan matyaga siya at hindi siya mabilis sumuko despite of all the hindrances or obstacles na kakaharapin niya during the investigation. So marami yan. A good example is yung mga uncooperative witnesses, uncooperative members of the family ng biktima or ng suspect. So yung mga ganong bagay, so it is considered as an obstacle or hindrances or nagpapabagal kasi siya sa usad ng kaso. Next is endurance. An investigator should be able to last all throughout the investigation by being physically and mentally fit. Honesty and integrity. It tests the level of honesty and integrity of an investigator against all kinds of temptation. Kasi marami rito yung nakokorrupt na mga investigators kasi susuhulan ng ibang partido and dapat hindi ganon. So kailangan maging honest and kailangan siya ay loyal sa kanyang trabaho as an investigator which is to carry out its duty as an investigator para masolusyonan or masolve yung krimen. Flexibility. It refers to the ability of an investigator to be flexible on how he acts or communicate to different kind of people. So, kasi kailangan kung ang i-interview mo is bata, so kailangan iba yung approach mo. Kailangan mas friendly yung approach mo. So, iba naman pag hostile yung respondent. So, yung hindi cooperative. So, iba rin dapat ang approach mo doon. Next is good communication. Kailangan well-literate ang investigator in communicating both oral and written. Next is keen power of observation. So, an investigator shall be good in observing and describing the things around him. So, ang criminal investigator kasi, it is not just about gathering evidence, not just about interviewing witnesses, but also in observing the surroundings or the environment nung area ng kanyang iniimbestigahan. Next is justice. An investigator shall carry out its duty regardless of patronage. So, kailangan wala siyang pinapanigan. Knowledge in self-defense and firearms usage. So, kailangan ng investigator din shall be capable in defending himself kasi minsan merong mga instances na habang nag-iimbestiga ka, may mga makakasalamuha ka talaga na magbibigay ng security risk or ng risk sa iyong buhay. So, you have to defend yourself. Well-educated in criminal law. So, investigators shall have the basic knowledge on legal basis linked in criminal investigation. So, what are the primary job of a criminal investigator? So, ang primordial responsibility kasi ng investigator is to unfold whether or not an offense has been perpetrated under the law. And after defending what specific offense has been perpetrated, he must discover how it was perpetrated. So, malalaman lahat yan through the 6 cardinal points of investigation. So, for the 6 cardinal points of investigation, nandyan yung what, where, when, whom, why, and how. So, ano yung sinasagot sa what? So, paano tatanungin yun? So, what specific offense has been committed? So, ang sasagutin doon is the nature of crime. Where the crime was committed. So, ito yung place or location kung saan ginawa ang krimen. When it was committed, the time and date the crime was committed. Whom it was committed, who are the persons involved doon sa krimen, why it was committed, what is the reason or motive of the perpetrator in doing the crime, and how it was committed, ano yung manner or modus operandi ni offender. So that's all. Thank you very much, and I do hope that you learned a lot for this video. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the professor, and please hit the notification bell for you to be updated for my next upload. So see you on my next one. Thank you.